I used to think my marriage was boring in the normal way. You know, we have a shared calendar and we argue about dishwasher loading technique, kind of boring. The kind where romance is measured in whether someone remembered to buy coffee filters. We'd been together 7 years, married for 6, 1 kid, a mortgage, a dog we swear we didn't want, the full subscription package. From the outside, we looked like an ad for adult life, now with back pain. From the inside, I thought we were fine. Not fireworks fine. Not we still make out in the kitchen fine. Just stable. Functional. Like a reliable sedan. My wife Jasmine was the opposite of a sedan. Jasmine was a social event wearing perfume. She was beautiful in that effortless way that makes you suspect some women are born with a personal lighting crew. The kind of woman who can wear sweatpants, a messy bun, and still look like she's about to be interviewed about her skincare routine. She was also very good at being liked. Baristas liked her, neighbors liked her, random women in Target liked her. She could walk into a room and make people feel like they were part of something, like they'd been invited to a private club. Me? I'm not that guy. I'm calm. I'm steady. I'm the person you call when you need something fixed at 11 p.m. and don't want your life to become a TikTok series. I used to think that was a good thing. Because here's the truth. I didn't marry Jasmine for her social aura. I married her because she made my life feel warmer. Like I mattered. Like she saw me. And I didn't think I was a pushover. I wasn't a doormat. I worked hard, I took care of my kid, and I never begged for attention like a lost puppy. But at some point, the air changed. It wasn't one big betrayal. It was a drip. The first time I noticed was over something stupid. Like always. We were in the kitchen, and I was making our kids' lunch, cutting strawberries into little hearts, because I'm apparently the type of man who crafts fruit like it's a Valentine's Day special. Jasmine walked in, glanced at the lunch, and said, "See, that's what I mean." I didn't even look up. "What do you mean?" She leaned on the counter like she was giving a TED talk. "You're soft." I laughed, because the alternative was to ask her if she'd hit her head. "I'm soft because I cut strawberry?" "You know what I mean." She waved her hand. "You don't hold a frame." I finally looked at her. Hold a frame? Like a picture frame? Want me to nail one to the wall? She rolled her eyes, the way someone rolls their eyes when they think they're married to a golden retriever in human form. "No, like presence, backbone. You're always trying to make everything smooth." "I thought smooth was the goal," I said. "What do you want, Chaos?" "I want..." She paused, like she was searching for the word. "I want a man who leads." I blinked. I lead. I pay the mortgage. I schedule our kids' dentist appointments. I literally led our family to the pediatrician when she swallowed a Lego. "That's not what I mean," she said, dismissive, already turning away. "It's like you don't even get it." She walked out with her phone in her hand, scrolling like the world needed her immediate approval. I stood there holding a strawberry heart, feeling like I'd just been insulted by a podcast quote. At first I told myself she was stressed. Jasmine had always been intense about self-improvement. She'd binge confidence videos, read articles about feminine energy, and suddenly our living room would be full of books with titles like "Unlock Your Power and Be the Prize." I didn't mind it. Everybody needs a hobby. But then those words started showing up in her mouth like new teeth. "You're too nice. You don't set boundaries. You don't have masculine energy." Masculine energy. What does that even mean? Am I supposed to radiate like a nuclear reactor? Should I start grunting when I open the fridge? One night she said it while we were watching a movie. Our kid was asleep, the lights were dim, and I thought we were having one of those quiet moments that count as intimacy when you're parents. A guy in the movie, some confident, loud, obnoxious hero, walked into a room, grabbed the girl, and said something cringy like, "You're coming with me." Jasmine smiled. Then she looked at me and said casually, "See? That's a man." I stared at the screen. "That's assault with background music." She laughed like I was adorable. "No, you know what I mean. I really don't, I said. Do you want me to drag you out of Costco by the wrist? She sighed, like I'd disappointed her, and went back to the movie. And the comparison started. It was never direct at first, just little comments like sand in your shoes. My friend Katie's husband has this confidence. My co-worker's boyfriend is really assertive. That guy at the gym, he just walks like he owns the place. I'd joke about it to keep it light. Okay, great. I'll start walking like I own the place. Should I also wear a cape? She didn't laugh. And that was new, because Jasmine used to laugh at my jokes. Not the polite ha, the real laugh. The one where she'd tilt her head back and smack my arm and call me stupid. Now my jokes landed like paper airplanes hitting a wall. It made me start noticing other things, like how often her friends were around. Jasmine had a pack. Not just friends, a pack. They were always at our house, brunches, wine nights, quick chats that lasted 3 hours. They'd sit on our couch like they paid rent. They'd call our home Jasmine's place, not our place, Jasmine's. And my role in those nights was furniture, useful furniture. A coffee table that could occasionally refill glasses, smile, and disappear. There was one friend in particular, Lena, who made my skin itch. Lena wasn't just confident. Lena was weaponized confidence. She was the kind of woman who talked about men like she was reviewing appliances. Oh, he's cute, but does he provide? He's sweet, but does he lead? He's tall, but does he have presence? Presence was her favorite word. She said it like a spell. Lena wore blazer jackets like she was always on her way to fire someone. She called herself an alpha coach, without irony, which should honestly be a medical diagnosis. And she had a way of looking at me like she was mentally rating my resale value. One night, she came over with the others. My kid was building a tower in the living room, Jasmine was pouring wine, and Lena was talking, loudly, about relationship dynamics. I walked by with a bowl of snacks. Lena glanced at me and said, in that fake sweet voice, "Aw, James, you're such a good husband." "Thanks," I said. "It's my passion." She smiled. "No, I mean it. You're like, safe." I paused. "Safe?" "Yeah," she said, as if explaining something to a child. "Like, a safe choice." Jasmine laughed. Not a big laugh, just a little one, like the comment had landed exactly where it was supposed to. I looked at Jasmine. She didn't meet my eyes. She was busy pouring wine with sudden intense focus. I swallowed it. Because what do? Argue in front of your kid? Start a fight because your wife's friend called you safe? So I did what I always did. I stayed calm. I stayed polite. I kept it moving. But something in my brain filed that moment away. Not as ouch, as remember this. Because the truth is, I wasn't oblivious. I wasn't clueless. I wasn't some helpless guy getting dragged around by life. I just didn't want to believe my wife would ever talk about me like I was a category. And then, one Tuesday, the universe decided I didn't get a choice anymore. It was a normal day. Work was annoying. My phone battery was at 9% because my charger had mysteriously vanished, probably into the same dimension as missing socks. I left the office early because I realized I forgot a folder I needed for a meeting the next morning. I drove home, annoyed at myself, thinking about nothing more dramatic than, why am I like this? I pulled into the driveway and noticed Jasmine's car was there. That was unusual. She was supposed to be out with the girls later, not home mid-afternoon. I walked in quietly, because I didn't want to startle our kid if he was napping. I kicked off my shoes, holding my keys so they wouldn't jingle. And that's when I heard it. Laughter. Not my kids' laughter. Not a TV show. Women's laughter. The kind that bounces off kitchen walls and says, "We are comfortable here." I froze in the hallway. The kitchen light was on. I could see the silhouettes moving. Glass clinks. The faint sound of someone saying, "Stop, you're evil." Jasmine thought I wasn't home yet. I took one step forward. And then I heard Lena's voice, sharp and amused. So, be honest, how's it living with Mr. Nice Guy? Jasmine laughed and said, "Oh my God, don't start." Lena's laugh came back. "No, I'm serious. Does he even, act like a man?" The words hit the air like a slap. I stopped breathing. Not because I was shocked that Lena was nasty, because Jasmine didn't shut it down. She didn't say, "Don't talk about my husband like that." She didn't say, "That's disrespectful." She didn't say anything like a partner. She just laughed again. And I realized, standing there in my own hallway, holding a stupid folder like it was a shield, I wasn't about to overhear a joke. I was about to overhear the truth. I stood there like an idiot. Not the helpless kind of idiot. More like the kind who walks into a room expecting normal physics and finds out gravity was quietly cancelled. The hallway was dim. The kitchen was bright. And for a second, it felt like I was watching my life through a glass panel. Lena's voice carried easily. She didn't even try to lower it because why would she? In her world, men like me were background objects, like a coat rack with a paycheck. Another friend, Sophie I think, laughed and said, "Oh my God, Lena, you're insane." Lena replied, "I'm practical." That word, practical. The way some people say, "I'm honest" right before they drop a cruelty grenade. Jasmine said, "He's a great dad." Okay, like actually, he's very involved. Her tone was defensive, like she was reading off a product label. Features include, changes diapers, packs lunches, can assemble IKEA furniture without crying. Lena scoffed. "Okay, and? Great dad doesn't mean great husband." Sophie said, "I mean, isn't he sweet?" Lena, "Sweet is what you call a dessert, not a man." I heard the clink of ice, the casual swirl of wine. They were comfortable. This wasn't a new topic. This was content. Jasmine laughed again, a little breathy. "You're so dramatic." Lena, "I'm not dramatic. I'm trying to save you. You're still young. You're gorgeous. You could have options. Options. Like my wife was browsing a menu. I shifted my weight and the floor creaked slightly. I froze again. No one reacted. My heart was doing this slow, heavy thumping like it was trying to warn me. You're about to hear something you can't unhear. Sophie, "Okay, but does he at least provide? Like fully?" Jasmine, "Yes, we're fine. We're more than fine." Lena, "But does he lead?" There it was again. That stupid word. Like she was auditioning men for a corporate leadership program. Jasmine sighed. "He's steady. Steady. The way you describe a washing machine." Lena laughed. "Steady is what you say when you don't want to say boring." Sophie, "That's harsh." Lena, "Life is harsh. Better to be honest now than miserable later." Jasmine's voice softened, like she was trying to keep the mood playful. "I'm not miserable." Lena, "Then why do you keep looking at other men like you're starving?" Silence. Not long. Just enough. Enough for my brain to snap a picture. Then Jasmine chuckled, too high, too quick. "Oh my God." Sophie, "Wait, do you?" Jasmine, "No, I mean, I don't know." Lena, amused, "There it is." Someone giggled. Another voice said, "I knew it." I felt my face get hot, like my body was reacting before my mind could process it. I wanted to walk in, not to scream, not to flip a table, but to look at my wife and say, "Really?" Instead, I stayed in the hallway like a man watching his own house get sold while he's still living in it. Lena continued, warm and sharp. "Let's just call it what it is. James is the safe husband, the good-on-paper husband." Jasmine didn't protest. She didn't correct her. She just said, like it was a confession she'd rehearsed, "He's the kind of man you can build a life with." I almost laughed, because I knew what was coming next. Lena, "But not the kind of man you crave." And then Jasmine said it. Not angrily, not cruelly, almost casually, like she was describing the weather. "He's not the kind of man you crave," she repeated, and her voice dipped into this relaxed truth. He's the kind you settle with. Something inside me went quiet. You know how in movies, when someone gets hit and the sound muffles and the world goes slow? It wasn't like that. It was worse. It was normal. My brain didn't dramatize it. My body didn't faint. My knees didn't buckle. It just clicked, like a deadbolt. And suddenly, every little comment, every eye roll, every comparison had a place to sit. Lena let out a satisfied, like she'd just heard a student finally answer correctly. Sophie. Jasmine. Jasmine laughed again, and this time it had this weird bitterness in it. It's not like he's a bad guy. Lena. No one said he's bad. He's just safe. Safe again. The word was starting to feel like a collar. Jasmine. He's stable. He's consistent. He doesn't challenge me. Lena. Exactly. He doesn't awaken you. Awaken. I swear these women were one crystal collection away from starting a cult. Sophie, quieter. Okay, but that's still your husband. Jasmine. I know, and he's a great dad. He's good. You know what good means when someone is talking about their partner like that? It means adequate. It means you'd recommend it to a friend who's on a budget. Then Lena said, like she was pulling the pin, okay, let's have fun with it. Rate him. A burst of laughter. Jasmine. Oh my God, stop. Lena. No, come on, it's just us. We all do it. Sophie. We do not all do it. Lena. Yes, we do. We just don't all admit it. Someone else, maybe Tara, chimed in. Do it. This is hilarious. And Jasmine didn't shut it down. She didn't say, no, that's disrespectful. She didn't say, he's my husband, not a product. She sighed like she was being peer pressured into karaoke. Fine, whatever. My stomach tightened. I held my breath. Lena. Okay, looks. Jasmine hesitated. I could practically see her making the face she makes when she's choosing a paint color. 6, she said. Lena. 6 out of 10? Jasmine laughed. Don't make it weird. Lena. I'm not making it weird. You're the one rating your husband like a toaster. I felt a strange flicker in my chest. Not rage, not tears. A cold kind of curiosity. 6. I wasn't offended by the number. Honestly, on a good day, with the right lighting, I'd give myself a confident, not ugly. What hurt wasn't the rating. It was the ease, the way she said it like it was obvious. Lena. Okay, presents. Jasmine didn't even hesitate this time. 3. Someone whistled. Sophie. Ouch. Jasmine. What? He's quiet. Lena. Quiet is fine if it's powerful quiet. Is he powerful quiet? Jasmine paused, and then she laughed. The kind of laugh that says you already know the answer. I swallowed hard. Lena. Backbone. Jasmine. He has one. Lena. Rate it. Jasmine. I don't know. Like 4. More laughter. More ice clinking. More casual cruelty. My hands were still holding that stupid folder. The irony hit me. I'd come home early because I forgot something important. Turns out, I was the thing in this marriage that was forgettable. Lena. Okay. Final category. Her voice got playful, like she was hosting a game show. As a man. There was a pause, and that pause felt like someone slowly tightening a wire around my throat. I heard her inhale. I heard her hesitate. And then I heard a giggle. Hers, or someone else's. Lena. Come on, don't be shy. Jasmine. Another pause. Then she said, almost like she was admitting a guilty pleasure. He's safe. That's the point. Lena. So what is that? 2? 3? Jasmine's voice came out lighter, joking, trying to hide behind humor. Maybe 3. And the kitchen exploded with laughter. Not because it was funny, because it was easy. Because my existence had been turned into entertainment. I felt my face go cold, like my blood had moved somewhere else, like my body was trying to protect what was left. I wanted to walk in. I wanted to say something that would stop their laughter in their throats. But then another thought came, clear as day. If I walk in right now, she'll cry. She'll twist it. She'll say it was just joking. Her friends will back her up. She'll make me the villain for invading her space. And worst of all, she'd still think of me as the safe husband. Just a safer one who found out. So I did something I didn't expect from myself. I smiled, not because it was funny, because it was done. I turned around, quiet, controlled, and I walked back out of my own house like a man leaving a room he suddenly realized he never belonged in. I got into my car, closed the door, and sat there for a long time, staring at the steering wheel like it had answers. My phone buzzed with a notification, some stupid work email, like life was still normal. I didn't cry. I didn't punch anything. I didn't even swear. I just thought, so that's what I am. A category, a placeholder, a good-on-paper man. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel confused. I felt awake. I sat in my car for a long time, not because I didn't know what to do, because my brain was doing that thing where it tries to pretend something didn't happen, even while replaying it in HD. The windshield framed my house perfectly. Warm lights, cozy curtains, the kind of place people take Christmas photos in. Inside, my wife was laughing with her friends, sipping wine, rating me like I was a mid-range blender. 3 out of 10 as a man. I almost chuckled. It was so absurd it circled back into comedy. Like, imagine telling your partner of 7 years that he's a 3 in masculinity. What's next? James is a strong 4 in ability to carry groceries, but unfortunately lacks the raw mystique. My phone buzzed again. A text from Jasmine. Jasmine. Hey babe, where are you? Thought you'd be home soon. Babe. The audacity of pet names after emotional homicide is impressive. I stared at the screen for a moment, thumb hovering. I could have replied, oh, I'm outside, just listening to you explain to Lena how I'm basically the human version of beige. Instead, I typed, me, running a little late, be home soon, and sent it. Because here's the thing, I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. Lena would love that. She'd tilt her head, pretend sympathy, then tell Jasmine later, see, he's insecure. Weak men always react emotionally. No, if I was going to react, I'd do it the way men with spines react, quietly, with control. I took a deep breath, started the car, and drove around the block like I was just out grabbing milk. Then I came back, walked inside normally, keys loud this time. The kitchen went silent for half a second, like a stage when the villain enters. Jasmine turned, all smiles. Oh, you're home early. Early. Funny. Because apparently I'd been home for the most educational TED Talk of my life. Lena's eyes flicked over me, unreadable. James, she said sweetly, we were just talking about you. I smiled. Oh, I'm honored. Should I sign something? A couple of them laughed awkwardly. Jasmine's laugh was too bright. Don't be weird. I held up the folder in my hand. Came back for something I forgot. Almost like my brain is soft. That landed. Just a small one. A needle. Jasmine blinked. Lena's smile tightened. Sophie looked suddenly fascinated by her wine glass. I walked over, kissed my kid on the forehead. He was building something on the floor, blissfully unaware that Daddy's perception of reality had just been set on fire. Hey, buddy, I murmured. Nice tower. Then I glanced up at Jasmine. You having fun? Yeah, she said quickly. Just a little girl's afternoon. Love that, I said. Wine, laughter, casual humiliation. Her eyes widened slightly. What? I waved my hand like I'd misspoken. What? I said, hydration. I turned toward the fridge, grabbed a bottle of water, played the role perfectly. The calm husband, the safe husband, the placeholder. Inside, something was rearranging itself. It wasn't anger. Anger is hot, loud. This was colder. This was the quiet realization that I had been living inside someone else's story, as the supporting character. Lena watched me with the interest of a predator sensing movement. Jasmine cleared her throat. Do you need something? I took a sip of water. Nope, just wanted to grab this and head out again. Out? Jasmine asked. I nodded. Yeah, gym. Might work on my presence. That one hit harder. Lena's lips parted slightly. Sophie choked on her drink. Jasmine's face did that tiny twitch people get when they're not sure if they're being mocked. I smiled warmly. Have fun, ladies. And I left. Not storming. Not slamming the door. Just leaving. Because the truth? The conversation was over. The game had started. That night, Jasmine acted normal. Too normal. She asked about my day like she hadn't just rated my masculinity lower than a folding chair. Our kid babbled about school. The dog barked at nothing. Life continued. And Jasmine played her role beautifully. At one point, she touched my arm. You've been quiet today. I looked at her. Quiet. Powerful quiet or boring quiet? I gave her an easy smile. Just tired. She studied me. Everything okay? I wanted to laugh. That's like asking the Titanic if the water's nice. Instead, I said calmly, do you feel happy with me? The question hung in the air. Jasmine blinked. Then she gave a soft, dismissive laugh. Where is this coming from? Just wondering, I said. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You're being insecure. There it was, the word she used like a weapon. Insecure, she continued, is really unattractive, James. I tilted my head. So asking my wife if she's happy is unattractive? She exhaled, irritated. You always do this. You overthink. You make up problems. I stared at her for a moment, then nodded slowly. Right. She softened just a touch. Babe, you're fine. We're fine. Don't get weird. I smiled again, the safe husband smile. Okay. Jasmine relaxed. She thought she'd put the leash back on. She went upstairs, phone in hand, thumb moving fast. And I sat on the couch in the dim light, listening to the quiet house. My kid asleep. My wife texting. My marriage sitting there like an old painting I'd suddenly noticed was crooked. I didn't need a meltdown. I didn't need some dramatic confrontation. I needed clarity. And clarity starts with one simple thing. Observation. So the next morning, I started paying attention. What I noticed first, Jasmine started hiding her phone. Not obvious hiding. Just angle changes, screen down, bathroom trips, little laughs she didn't share. What I noticed second, her friends weren't just friends. They were accomplices. Lena especially. Lena texted her constantly. And Jasmine smiled at those texts like a teenager. The universe has a cruel sense of humor. One evening she forgot her Apple Watch on the kitchen counter, just sitting there, buzzing softly, like a little electronic conscience she accidentally left behind. I wasn't prowling around like some cartoon detective. I was doing normal life things, cleaning up, turning off lights, checking on my son upstairs, tucked into bed, breathing slow and peaceful. My kid had no clue his father's marriage had just been quietly put on life support. Then the watch lit up. A preview. One message. D. Wish you were here instead. A heart next to an initial. My wife wasn't just settling, she was shopping. And suddenly, Lena's little rating game made perfect sense. The softness comments, the presence obsession, the constant girls' nights. The way Jasmine looked at me lately like I was useful, but uninspiring. I set the watch back down carefully. Like it was evidence. Because it was. And the strangest part? I didn't feel rage, like my brain finally stopped negotiating with denial. And I thought, I'm not going to burn my life down screaming. I'm going to walk out with my dignity intact. She wasn't scared of losing me. She was scared of losing control of the story. So I gave it back to her. I let her believe the leash was still on. For the next week, I was calm. Normal. I packed lunches. I played with our son. I laughed at the right moments. I was everything she called safe. And Jasmine relaxed. She started humming around the house again, started looking at her phone with those private smiles, started living like a woman who believed she had options and no consequences. Then, on Thursday, I said casually, "Hey, I was thinking." She glanced up. "About what?" "We should have people over." Her face brightened instantly. Jasmine loved audiences. "For what?" "Our anniversary's coming up," I said. "Not a big thing, just dinner, friends." Her eyes lit up. "That's actually sweet. Sweet, safe, predictable." She squeezed my arm. "I'll invite the girls." "Of course," I smiled. "Yeah, invite Lena. Invite everyone." Jasmine hesitated just a fraction, then nodded. "Okay." That night, I watched her text them, excitement all over her face, like she didn't realize she was confirming her own witness list. Later, she curled up beside me, content. "You see?" she murmured. "We're good." I stared at the ceiling. "We're great." She sighed happily and fell asleep. My wife slept peacefully next to me, and I lay there in the dark thinking, the worst betrayal isn't another man. It's being reduced to a category, a safe husband, a placeholder, a product rating. Next week, they'd all be at my table, smiling, drinking, thinking they were untouchable, and I would finally give them the only rating that mattered: respect. 0 out of 10. The anniversary dinner came fast. Jasmine turned it into an event, of course. Candles, music, her good plates. The ones we apparently protect for special occasions, like porcelain, is more sacred than honesty. She wore a dress that made it very easy to understand why someone might put a heart next to an initial. The girls arrived like a traveling circus of opinions. Sophie first, awkwardly kind. Tara with her loud laugh. And then Lena. Lena entered like she owned the air. Blazer, perfect hair, that alpha coach smile that always looked like she was about to sell someone a course called How to Upgrade Your Man. "James," she said brightly, "anniversary dinner. How adorable." "Lena," I replied, equally polite, "thank you for blessing my home with your presence." She didn't catch the edge in it. Predators rarely notice calm until it bites. Jasmine floated between them, glowing. She was relaxed, happy. She thought this night was proof of control. Our son was at his grandparents', so it was an adults-only evening, meaning Jasmine could wear her social mask. Wine poured, glasses clinked. Lena held court, as always. "So, Jasmine," she said, leaning back, "tell us, what's the secret? 7 years together, still standing." Jasmine laughed. "James is consistent. Consistent. A word that used to mean loyal. Now it sounded like doesn't cause trouble." Lena smiled knowingly. "That's important. Stability is rare." I watched her speak. The same mouth that helped my wife turn me into a category. The same voice that laughed while I stood in my hallway, realizing I'd become a punchline. Dinner moved along. Small talk, work gossip. One of them complained about men like they were defective apps. And I sat there quietly, cutting my steak, listening. Halfway through dessert, Lena raised her glass. "To Jasmine," she announced. "A woman who knows what she deserves." The girls cheered. Jasmine smiled wide. Then Lena added with a glance at me, "And to James, for being such a supportive husband." Supportive, like a foam mattress. They laughed, lightly, socially. Kind of laughter that isn't funny, just agreed upon. Something in me settled, like the last piece of a puzzle clicking into place. I wiped my mouth slowly. Then I lifted my own glass. The room quieted instinctively, because even safe husbands are allowed a toast. Jasmine's eyes flickered with pleasant surprise. "Aw," she whispered. "James." I stood. Calm posture, easy voice. "Yeah," I said. "I actually wanted to say something tonight." Lena smiled, already amused, like she expected a harmless compliment. Jasmine beamed. I looked around the table. Then my gaze landed on Lena. "Lena," I said warmly. "I just want to thank you." Her eyebrows rose. "Oh?" "Yes," I continued. "Truly, you've been incredibly helpful." Lena laughed. "Well, I do try." Jasmine's smile faltered slightly, confusion creeping in. I nodded slowly. "No, I mean it. Without you, I don't think I would have ever seen my marriage this clearly." The air shifted. Sophie stopped chewing. Tara blinked. Jasmine's hand froze halfway to her glass. Lena's smile tightened, just a fraction. I kept going, voice smooth. "You have a talent, Lena. The way you talk about men, like they're items on a shelf, like they're scores, categories." Jasmine's face drained a little. Lena let out a small laugh. "What is this?" I smiled. "A toast." Then I tilted my head slightly, as if remembering something amusing. "Oh, almost forgot." I looked directly at Lena. "Tell Dee I hope he rates honesty higher than you rate husbands." Silence. Like the world held its breath. Lena's expression didn't crack right away, but her eyes did. They widened just enough. Jasmine went still. Her lips parted. Color disappeared from her cheeks so fast it was almost impressive. Sophie whispered, barely audible, "Oh my God." Tara's mouth opened, then closed. Jasmine's voice came out thin. "James." I turned to my wife, calm as ever. "What?" I asked gently. "Was that insecure of me?" Her throat worked. "Why would you—" I cut her off softly, not with anger, but with finality. "I heard it, Jasmine." Her eyes flashed. "Heard what?" I smiled faintly. "The ratings." A tremor went through her face. I leaned forward slightly, voice quiet but sharp enough to slice. "You didn't cheat with your body first." Pause. "You cheated with your respect." Jasmine shook her head quickly, panic spilling through. "It was a joke." I chuckled. "A joke." I glanced at Lena. Funny group. No one laughed. I set my glass down carefully. The sound was small, but in that silence it landed like a gavel. I reached into my pocket and placed something on the table. My wedding ring. Jasmine stared at it like it was a bomb. I looked at her one last time. "You wanted an alpha," I said, almost kindly. "So here's what an adult man does." I straightened. "He leaves." Jasmine stood abruptly, chair scraping. "James, wait! Please!" I stepped back. Lena stayed frozen, her empire of smugness collapsing in real time. Sophie looked like she might cry. Tara looked like she might throw up. And Jasmine looked like someone had finally taken the mirror away and left her alone with herself. I opened the door, then paused, just once, turned my head slightly. "Oh," I added, calm as winter. "By the way?" Lena looked up, terrified. "Safe husbands don't snap." I smiled. "They just stop staying." And I left. The next days were exactly what you'd expect. Messages, calls, voicemails that went from rage to sobbing in 30 seconds. It was a joke. "You ruined everything. Please don't do this." Lena, mysteriously, disappeared. Dee probably did too. Fantasy men don't like reality paperwork. I hired a lawyer. I filed quietly. I didn't fight in public. I didn't scream. I just moved like a man who finally understood his worth. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.